Hello, my name is Richard Lowe, and I am the owner of The Writing King. I'm a professional ghostwriter, author, and LinkedIn branding specialist. Today we're going to talk about the need for speed. So, when you're a writer, you need to write as quickly as you can. You need to get as many words down on paper as you can. Now, that depends on your goal of writing. If your goal of writing is to have the joy of producing a story or a book, and you're just happy with it, and you've got a good income, and it's kind of more of a hobby, take as long as you want to write a book. It doesn't matter, or a story, or whatever you're writing. But if your goal is to produce, say, a book, a trilogy, to get published, to write lots of other things, then you must write quickly. And it's really not an option. You can't write slowly and expect to make an income with your writing. The reason for that is simple. Let's look at it like any other job. Let's say you were working as a coder, as a programmer. Well, you have to produce so many programs or applications. You have to go so quickly so that you meet deadlines. You have to satisfy investors, you have to satisfy your boss, and so forth with the speed of your performance and quality, of course. Those are two variables. We're talking particularly in this video about speed. And if you don't do that, then you're not going to be making a good income, or you're not going to have a job, or you're going to be getting constant reminders and even disciplinary action. Well, writing's kind of the same way, only usually with writing, you're working for yourself or a client. So let's say you're writing a book just because you want to get published and you want to make some money off the book, a science fiction book, say, or a fantasy book, or a romance novel, and you want to get it published. Then write the book. Write it as quickly as you can. I usually like to write first and then edit second, because it's two different parts of the brain, essentially, two different parts of your mind. Writing is one type of creativity, editing is another type of creativity. So you want to separate them, and that's where a lot of writers slow down, is they write, and then they go back and they edit, and then they go back and they edit again, and then they go back and edit again, and then they go back and edit again until that line's perfect, and that just locks them up. And by the end of the day, they've produced a couple paragraphs, which are admittedly very well done, but they've only produced a couple of paragraphs, or half a page, or a page, and that's going to take a long time to get that book done. On the other hand, the way I like to do it is just do like a brain dump, just take everything out of the brain and just write that story or article or book as fast as I can. Usually on a book, I write a chapter at a time, and then I go back and I edit that chapter. If I'm writing an article, I just dump out the article and then go back and then edit the article, and then edit it again, and edit it again, and edit it again. And that introduces, or lets your two creative sides, but writing, which is one kind of creation, and editing, which is modifying that creation, work at their best. And you can write very quickly, and writer's block has less of a chance of coming into play. So that's the idea. Now, why do you need to write fast? What's wrong with writing, say, I've heard some authors say, well, I wrote 200 words today, I'm happy. And that's fine. That's 200 words I didn't have yesterday. That's great. The problem with that is, like I said before, is it's going to take a long time to get any kind of value back from your writing. If you're writing for yourself and you're writing a novel that you're going to publish, it's going to take years to get that novel done. Okay. If you're writing for clients, like I am, I do both, but I write for clients, then they're not going to be satisfied with 200 words a day, because you're not going to be able to produce enough to make money. And that's one of the things about being a freelancer, is you have to write fast. You have to write very, very quickly. The faster you write, the more you make. It's a very simple equation. Actually, there's three parts to it. The faster you write, plus the amount you market to get more writing, plus equals how much money you make. You have to market as well, but that's a future video. So what I like to do is pace myself through the day. So I do some marketing, some writing, some marketing, some writing, some marketing, some writing, and just keep writing and writing a lot. And There are days when I'll do 1,000 words, and that's fine. And then there are other days when I'll do 10,000 words, and that's great too. And when I say 1,000 words, I mean 1,000 words ready to send to a client or ready to publish, or at least ready for the proofreader. In other words, through the writing and the editing stage. And I like to get those both done in the same day, so I've got something produced at the end that's actually worthwhile. And I usually edit it again the next day. So this is kind of a thought that you need to produce fast. Now you may disagree with that, and if you do, please feel free to note it in the comments. You may have some very strong feelings. I've met some writers who have some very strong feelings about it. They can only write 300 words a day because they have a family, or they have a job, or they have their mind won't go fast enough, or they can't write that fast, and that's fine. If that's true for you, then that's fine. Just know that it's going to take you a long time, and you certainly aren't going to be a freelance writer or a ghostwriter at that speed. You certainly could write a novel. I've known many writers who spend several years writing a novel, and then they publish it, and then it does what it does. Now, another important factor is the first novel. The first novel generally, and there's lots of exceptions to this, but overall, your first novel, you're learning to write, and you're learning how to edit, and you're learning how to plot, and you're learning how to do all these things and characters and stuff. And then you got to learn how to publish, and then you got to learn how to promote, and all these things happen. Don't expect your first novel to sell very well, and don't expect it to be a big seller. Rather, just get it out. Just get it done and get it out there. In fact, it may be better, rather than writing a novel, to write a couple of short ebooks as, say, prequels to your novel, as feeders into it, to get down to that pattern of writing and get used to how the whole process works, and get back some feedback from both readers and other writers on your writing. But don't expect that first one to sell very well, or the second one. Usually, most writers that I know, myself included, the third one is where you start to pick up speed, and you start to really understand the process, and you're able to write more succinctly, and then sales will start to pick up, especially because you start to get a name. That happens quite often. So don't get discouraged on your first one, and the primary thing here is get it done fast. Just get it done, because you want it out there, you want to get through it, you want to learn the process, and that's a great way to do it, is just to do the process and to learn it. And the same with the second one. Get it done as quickly as you can. Get it out there, publish it, and learn from it. And then the third one, and then the fourth one. And by then you should be in a groove. You should be able to write relatively quickly and get it up there and onto Amazon or wherever you're going to publish. So the message of this video is build up your speed day by day. If you're writing 200 words a day, that's great. Then a week later, try and write 250 words a day, and then 300 words a day, and then 350 words a day, and get it up to 1,000 words a day, 2,000 words a day, 3,000 words a day, and keep it consistent if you can, and write very quickly. We'll talk about how to create the perfect writing environment, and how to make sure that you have that time to write a quality writing in a later video. But for now, speed is important. Speed is the essence of turning. In fact, it is probably the key factor in turning writing from more of a hobby into something where you actually make an income from, is speed. Quality, of course, is part of it, and there's a lot of other factors, but if I had to name one factor about how to make a living as a writer, it is write fast. Really, really fast. And that will help you get over the hump and start making an income, whichever way you choose to write. This has been Richard Lowe. I'm a professional ghostwriter, an author, and a LinkedIn branding specialist. And if you would like, please leave a comment. If you disagree, if you agree, let me know how your writing's going. Let me know what your experience is on writing quickly or slowly. I'd love to hear from you. Be sure and subscribe to this channel, and visit fictionmasterclass.com or thewritingking.com. Leave some comments on the blogs. Those are always helpful. And let me know who you are, because I'd love to respond to comments. And thank you very much for listening. Bye.